field trip to the capital of Denver. We got to see some amazing views. Then we got to go to the Senate and the House of Representatives. We also got to meet Representative Kaiser, who is Miss Aragon's friend. We went down and we took the historical tour, and we found the ground was made of marble, which is the only marble in the world.
This month, we learned different methods to multiply, learned about government, made posters, and made skits. Our posters and skits were about types of local government. We learned long multiplication methods, including normal, area models, and expanded notation. We took our Unit 2 test and had a blast in the month of January.
January 22nd through 29th, 2015, we learned 2x2 multiplication in math. In writing, we are writing a story of imaginary or real places with fiction characters. Also, in social studies, we are researching for a debate with our assigned group. We are in groups of 4, so 2 people will be against and the other 2 will be for it.
And can you tell me about that trophy behind you?
Also, we have won the box hug trophy for getting the most points.
On 4 different laws right now. So that's what I'll be doing the rest of my day, talking to different people about what they think about my law that I'm drafting right now. I'll be talking to the other members about if they're going to support, if they're going to vote for my law. And of course, that's not the end of the story, right? I have to get more than half of the people in this room to approve of a law that I'm writing. And then it goes to where you're going to go next, to the Senate. And the same thing has to happen over there. Half of the Senate, at least half of the Senate has to approve. And then the final process is it has to go to the governor. So the governor has to say, yeah, I also like your law. So it's really hard. It's really hard to pass a new law. It takes a long time. So my name is John Kaiser, and I'm friends with Mrs. Aragon. And wanted to just come up and say hi.
Do you like being a representative?
I do.
Is it hard?
You know what? It's a lot of hard work. It's long hours, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of there's action going on all the time. We're going through a restoring process right now, and if you saw on your way in the gold on the dome, that was just finished here this summer. All that gold was donated by a gold mine in Colorado. They gave it to the state, and so the entire dome was covered in gold, and that project was a couple of years long in the making and just got finished. So yes.
Do you guys get any breaks throughout your working sessions?
You know what? Not really. I mean, it's kind of like, it's a little bit like school though, because occasionally if there's a break in the action, we'll take what's called a recess. So everybody likes recess, right? Somebody take a guess about how many proposed laws there are per year. Yes. Okay, 500.
1,500.
Ooh, okay, that's a little bit high. Okay, so the legislative session is 120 days, and that includes weekends. Okay. Now during that time, every legislator is allowed to introduce 5 bills, but then there are certain cases where you can introduce more. So 500 was a very, very good guess. What winds up happening with what are called late bills, there'll be maybe 700 bills that will be introduced in 1 year. So 700 potential new laws can come through here every single year. So that's a lot of votes. What has to happen is that we have to vote on a potential piece of legislation a number of times. So it gets read 3 times in here, and it only passes to go over to the Senate if it passes what's called third reading. So we have to take a lot of votes. So you can think about that, like 2,100 votes. If you're kind of ballparking it, so it's a lot. And that's how it's done. Anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. So how many people are in the entire, everybody that's in this building that makes laws, they're a part of what's called the General Assembly, okay? So that includes the House and the Senate, all right? That's 100 people total. In the House of Representatives, we have 65. So there's 65 legislators in here. In the Senate, there are 35, okay? So that's why it's so much smaller. Great question.
Applied for a competitive grant, and she won. That means our class got 5 new Chromebooks in the classroom. They're just like mini laptops, and it has been really nice having a technology station that is just for our class. So far, we have been able to use the Chromebook for our debate topics, publishing our fiction stories, and completing learning activities for ELA and math.
For the past few weeks, we've been going to different classes to read different novels. In my class, I'm reading The Westing Game. The Westing Game is a murder mystery trying to find a multi-millionaire and get his corporation so the heirs 16 heirs get the whole corporation to have all the money to themselves. In this book, there are many different twists and turns, and you're always trying to find out different murders and different clues. So that's why I am telling you all about The Westing Game. Thank you.
My name is Brigham, and I am part of the Phantom Tollbooth novel studies. Phantom Tollbooth is a novel about a boy who travels through a toll booth, and he ends up in a different land, and he goes on all sorts of different adventures, and he tries to he's attempting to save Rhyme and Reason, who are 2 princesses that help settle fights. And I am enjoying this story because there's all sorts of strange creatures like demons and the mathematician, and I am also enjoying it because there's adventures and the way. And my last reason that I'm enjoying it is because because it's very strange how they eat, because in Dictionopolis they say a speech, and that is what they get to eat, what letters they eat. And then in the Digitopolis they eat subtraction stew, which makes them hungrier, and then they fill back up and then have the subtraction stew, so they're not hungry anymore.
I am reading a novel study about holes, and it's about where you have to dig a hole, and it has to be 5 feet deep and 5 feet wide to have the rest of the I like the novel study because it gets me on the edge of my seat, and it's a good book. And finally, I personally think it's a cool book.